Bradford, Rochdale, Oxford, Telford. In all of these recent high-profile cases, gangs of men have been convicted of grooming young and vulnerable white girls. But there is another group of victims whose stories haven't been told, until now.
A 9-year-old, a 10-year-old, 11-year-old being sexually abused. That shouldn't be tolerated in the streets that we live on.
Behind the doors of Britain's Sikh community, girls speak for the very first time about how they too have been groomed and then subjected to horrific sexual abuse by groups of men.
I can't sleep at all now because I keep getting nightmares. I attempted suicide on my 16th birthday.
I felt used and abused, like a piece of rubbish.
He was like, sleep with this guy, this is my friend, and it was horrible. I just wished I was dead.
We hear how being abused can leave Sikh girls isolated from their own community.
I think my family is that embarrassed of everyone knowing. At some point, I thought my parents would turn against me too.
And we investigate claims that the police are failing to protect Sikh children from a network of child abusers.
The support from the police has been zero. Why ain't we getting the same support as other communities are getting?
Jaswinder was only 13 when a man began the process of grooming her.
He seemed like a really sweet guy. I started skipping school just to go out with him. Then he'd buy me stuff and pay for my stuff. And then he bought me a phone to stay in contact with him. He made me feel like I was the centre of attention.
He spent weeks slowly gaining Jaswinder's trust, but he had a hidden agenda.
He took me out to a hotel and then gave me a drink. I didn't know what happened after that.
The next morning, Jaswinder woke up naked and realised her drink had been spiked. The man she thought she could trust had taken obscene photos of her and threatened to show them to her parents unless she agreed to have sex with other men.
They were like those alcoholics you'd see on the streets.
The blackmail and abuse continued for over 18 months. Jaswinder claims that the man who forced her into prostitution initially hid his true identity.
He didn't say he was Sikh, but the way he acted and talked and his appearance, he had a gold kanda and he had a kara. His appearance was just like a Sikh.
Wearing sacred symbols of Sikhism, she claims he had deceived her into thinking he was from the same religion. In fact, he was a Muslim.
They definitely weren't Sikhs. They're just someone from a different culture saying they're part of yours, lying, and it's really terrifying for anyone.
This is one of the few times that Jaswinder has actually talked about what happened to her. She says she has very loving parents, but in this Asian community, family honour is paramount. She's been warned by her mother against bringing the subject up at home and forbidden from telling her father the full details.
Parents are the last ones to find out if anything goes wrong. I was scared to tell my dad. There's just some stuff you can't tell them. And I just tried to keep myself to myself and not talk to anyone about it.
Inside Out has discovered that there are many other Sikh girls like Jaswinder, with no one to confide in. Kulwant is another teenager struggling with the terrible consequences of sexual exploitation. At the age of 16, she was being paid for sex by many older men. As a result, she self-harms.
This is the first time I've actually had a look at your arms. Is it just the arms?
My legs as well. And my stomach. These ones on my hands I did as I wasn't able to cope.
This man is not a counsellor, a social worker, or a police officer. But he's been trying to help victims of grooming in his community for over a decade.
We're from the Sikh Awareness Society, and our main mission really is to raise awareness on a terrible subject, sexual grooming. It is a very heartbreaking subject when you listen to some of the stuff that goes on the streets of Britain.
Mohan Singh helped set up the Sikh Awareness Society back in the 90s, after growing concern within his community that young children were being sexually abused. Just how big a problem is the sexual grooming of girls within the Sikh community?
It is a massive problem. Just imagine you got a 24-hour helpline, which, to be honest, never stops ringing. The more we dig into it, the more we're finding. Currently, we're dealing with 19 cases, all the way from north to the south in Leeds, in Bradford, Birmingham, in Southall.
The plight of girls like Kulwant and Jaswinder is the reason behind Mohan's mission to visit every single one of the UK's 300 Gurdwaras. Today, he's at one of the biggest in Leeds.
You have to be brave. You have to tackle the subjects that nobody's going to tackle. In simple terms, sexual exploitation is when someone takes advantage of you sexually for their benefit.
There's a strong turnout, but this is uncomfortable listening for most Sikhs. The sexual grooming of girls can be a taboo subject in this community. One of Mohan's biggest battles is persuading families to reach out for help.
It's one of them really personal issues which most families just don't want to talk about at all. And we really need to be able to somehow be able to engage people.
I think parents do need to be a bit more approachable. When your parents are so strict, who are you supposed to go to?
These girls will be from Amritari parents. They dare go home and tell their mum and dad.
Because it's such a taboo subject, we need to have an internal look, and whatever we find, we might not like the findings, but we can have a solution to them. And if we get the solution, we can save hundreds of girls.
Sikh communities are very honour-based, with deeply held traditional religious views that go back for centuries. As part of the code of honour that Sikhs live by, virginity before marriage is held sacred. This can make life very difficult for groomed Sikh girls and their families. In order to ensure that they can get married and to maintain dignity in the community, many parents feel they have to live by a code of secrecy, never revealing the abuse of their children. In fact, the stigma around sexual abuse can be so detrimental to a Sikh girl's future that victims are often sent away from the family home, sometimes permanently. "12 months ago, a 16-year-old was sent 6,000 miles to America to start a new life. Security is tight for her own safety. I have to be vetted before I can meet her." So the only thing I know about the girl that I've come here to meet is that she's willing to talk to me. I don't know her name, I don't know her address. The instructions that I've been given are to drive to this remote town in California and wait for a call. Eventually, I get a call. "Bobby, hi. Yep, this is Chris." "Uh-huh. Okay, see you then. All right, thanks." I'm told to head to a small remote town where I can meet with the contact. There he is. So you'll take me to the house?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, brilliant. Thanks. Cheers, thanks. At this point, we're asked to turn off our cameras to avoid revealing the location. My first impression of the girl, who we'll call Napreet, is she's like any other teenager, be it living thousands of miles from home. Okay, I brought you something back from Britain, from your mum and dad. I don't quite know what's in there. Should we have a look? What have we got? Clothes, a dictionary.
My strawberry pyjamas.
Come on, you must be able to get strawberry pyjamas in America.
No, it's nothing like home, so it reminds me of home.
Oh, that is stunning,
And
isn't it?
just...
That's to wear at the temple.
Yeah.
That's lovely. What else do you miss about home? What are the home comforts?
Baked beans.
Baked beans?
They don't have baked beans here.
What was the main reason for coming here?
I think for me personally was that everyone knew.
What everyone knew about Napreet back in London was that when she was 15, she'd been groomed and then blackmailed into having sex with several older men over many months.
It started at the Nagar Kirtan, which is like Vaisakhi Nagar Kirtan, and it's a festival where you all walk, and it's just to celebrate who we are as Sikhs. And this guy approached me and he asked me for my number, and he was around like 18, 19, and he was wearing a kara, a Sikh bracelet, which is our identity, and he was wearing a bandana, and he was like, "Oh, like we should meet up." And I met up with him with like other friends. Like
over the next few weeks, he showered Napreet with lots of attention and gifts. while slowly ostracizing her from her family and friends. All the classic hallmarks of grooming, but for a vulnerable teenage girl, it was love.
He told me that I was special, and I was just so happy.
Were you falling for him?
I was.
But then things changed.
He would kiss me, and like he would touch me, and like we did have like sexual contact, and I felt so guilty. I felt so bad, and when he knew that I was backing off, he showed me pictures. He had pictures of us like kissing, like someone was taking pictures from far away, and like pictures of like his hands like down my trousers, and he said that if you like leave me now, I will show your parents. I didn't know what to say, and the only thing I could say to him is like, you're another Sikh guy. You know what our parents are like. You know that my parents would kill me. You know that you can't do this. And that's when he told me that he wasn't a Sikh guy. And I didn't know what to do. He was a Muslim guy.
Over the coming months, Napreet was prostituted to countless men. Every time, she was promised the explicit photos of her would be destroyed if she slept with one more customer. She claims her judgment was impaired by the steady stream of drugs her groomer fed her.
I would wake up drugged, and they would force drinks down me. And I remember times where I would wake up and there would be like 5 people in a room.
Men?
Yeah.
Do you think it is something that you will ever be able to move on from and get over?
I'm not sure. Coming here has definitely made a difference.
The family just wants to try to sort of end or try to forget what's happened and move on with their life. And they know that a girl which is tarnished with this kind of thing will never actually get married. So we do help in taking that child away, giving a break to the family, because that child, the family knows that she is in safe hands.
I feel safe here, knowing that I'm away from all the hurt and the horror, and I know that those people are so far away from me, and I know that they can't get hold of me. They don't know where I am.
After almost a year, Napreet has settled into her new life, living with surrogate Sikh parents. She spends her time painting, studying, and teaching at the temple. She says coming here has been a fresh start. But a counsellor who has dealt with many victims of grooming in her clinic says Napreet's new life may be causing her more harm.
We have cases where children have actually been removed from their home environment when they've talked about the fact they're being sexually exploited. Now the problem here is, number one, it's not the child's fault. Secondly, by removing them from the home, it gives a very strong message, which is you are the problem. And unless somebody is saying you are not responsible, you're totally innocent and you deserve all the care and love and support that you can possibly get, the long-standing issues will be enormous.
My parents were angry with what happened to me, but they were accusing me, like, you couldn't stay away from it, you couldn't do anything, why were you doing this in the first place? I still believe that sometimes they blame me.
Do you think you'll ever be able to go back to London?
Depending on where life takes me, hopefully I will be able to go back. Like, coming here, it's almost like I've got a second chance to live my life again.